Gonna need new types of buildings really. Luckily I've got a modular system I can just tap into. Hello and welcome to the Battling Barrow. Yes, we're in my D&D campaign. We're going nautical, so we're going to travel down to some more tropical places. I'm thinking of the buildings you'd see in pirate films and games, that kind of Spanish-y, Mediterranean-y type building. So I don't have anything like that, so I'm going to have to build them. Luckily, it's just going to be tied into my modular building system, so they will be interchangeable as well, so I can have the bottom bit sort of that white plaster that I'm after, and the top bit being half timbered that I see looking in sort of Pirates of the Caribbean and Cutthroat Island. You see buildings like that, or I can go for the full sort of Spanish-esque type building, so they will be compatible with all the other buildings I've made. It can even have the lake house wooden tops on if I want, but I also want to add something extra to them. I want it to be, I've been modular where you can interchange them. What about modular where if you remember the videos, they stack on top? What if I can have something where I can twist one round so it has an L shape and a little veranda-y archway or something like that? So I'm thinking about that. So yeah, let's get on with the build. First thing we're going to want to do is effectively build this as normal. So I'm just using this foam board, so we're going to cover it in plaster. But I want to have some bricks exposed. So this is just cheap foam board. I'd normally use XPS, but cheap foam board. But the principle's still the same. 1 3/4 height for the walls, and I'm going to cut these down into 5.5 inches long and 4 inches long, and build the main floors as normal. Nothing exciting to it really. To make things easier down the line, I'm making this sort of template of a door, sort of roughly 1.5 inches wide and 1.5 inches long. I think it's 1 1/4 wide and 1.5 inches long. That way, so you can effectively, so that when I come to put it all together, I can use it as a template, draw around it, cut out the door, and we can do the doors later on. But at least before we assemble them all, we can have the doors cut out. And our windows too. I should be doing that as well, using these to trace around and cut the hole out for the windows. I'm going to use 2 windows to a floor, so maybe window here and a window here, but that's entirely up to you. I am just going to glue them together, probably using a hot glue gun just for speed and quickness. You could of course use PVA. One thing I do want to do is on this, which I'll show you here before we move on, is whilst these are going to be white plaster, I want the plaster to be cracked in places, so hence why I've used cheap foam for this, because whilst it's going to be plastered, I do want to see some brickwork come through. So what I'm going to do in places, just not a lot, just while the whilst it's exposed, and I'll probably texture that up, the bit that's exposed. Just add someone it's painted. And once you've got it all glued together, you have something that will look a bit like this. Going to work on the roof now. So for this I'm going to need a bit of foam that is the same width as these bits here. I'm going to need 2 of these. If you've seen this done before using any of my modular houses, you know what's going to come now, except for in this case the roof is going to be quite shallow for this style of building. So if you're interested, it's about that much, so about 1.25 inches. And for your metric people, just over 3. So I'm going to need 2 of those. Next, I'm going to make the roof out of corrugated cardboard. This is going to be a different roof to we've done before. It's going to be like a Roman-esque pipe roof, is the only way I can describe it. So I'm going to make it out of some corrugated card. It's going to be just slightly wider than the house itself, not too much, and just slightly longer than 2 lengths of this. So in this case it's about 6 inches by 5¼ inches. The only important thing here is the channels of the corrugation should run along this way, and what we're going to do is just score along the middle to make folding the roof easier, just lightly. Next, try and carefully peel one of the layers of the top off. You may need to do some extreme tidying up here. You can see it still leaves bits behind. Okay, making 1/2 inch-ish scores, but you don't want to cut through the backing, just the ridges. And then what you want to do is come in with a knife and try and poke them down to make them more prominent. As well as stacking these buildings this way, I actually want to have them stack this way. So what I've done to accommodate this is make a little mini roof, so when it's this way we can put it there. So you have a roof there, but now we need to make an overhang here, sort of with arches, an arch here, big arch here, and a big arch here. So for this I'm going to use some 10mm foam. I'll cut it down into strips of the same height as the building without the floors. That's 1 3/4. I make one bit 4 inches wide to be the end bit here, and I've just worked out a rough pattern that I'll cut out, and this bit here is the side bit that will fit along here. Going to now texture this, and I'm going to texture it with plaster. This is Herculite 2 plaster. I'll make up a big load of this. Now I'm just going to use an old brush that one. I'm just going to pile it on, and what I am going to do is round where I did those bricks, just leave it uncovered. Whilst we're waiting for the plaster to dry, you can make some doors. For these, 2 doors are needed, so I'm going to use a template piece. 3 doors. There's nothing to this. I've got a detailed video about making doors if you want to watch that. I'm just going to use the techniques there just to make some doors. It will be something that you won't have to do, and that's shorten down these windows, because some idiot bought windows that are too big. So what I'm going to do is cut them down and make them into this size window, because these are like having sort of 1 1/4 from a wall plus a bit for the floor, and these take up almost that entire space. So this will be something you won't have to do. So trying to do this on camera really difficult, but these cut really easy. So it's just a case of cutting the top frame away, cutting this bit off, there is always a way to do these things. What we're going to do is we're going to glue that to there. And now just hold it in place. Come in with a clamp and hold it in place. Try and do it straight. Let that be held in place. Wait while it dries. The reason I'm showing you this is just in case you make any mistakes during your crafting career. Just showing you there is always a fix. You can always work something out. So over to painting now. I'm going to base coat it in a grey. It's called cinder pot, but it's just like a mid grey. I'll just be doing all the plastering and exposed foam work on the floor and the plaster. The roof I won't touch, so let's get base coating. And then finally a dry brush with just some pure white, just picking up the more raised parts of it. I'm going to pick out the bricks engraved in and left exposed using this elf grey from Nostalgia 88. So that's let's pick something mixing. So all these bricks here, and I'm just going to paint them individually, sort of leaving in the grout lines. I know just recently I've been on a realistic sandstone bug with colouring, but I figured as this is going to be sort of tropical across the seas, these are probably going to be made more from granite or volcanic rocks, so that is the sort of look I am going for here. Yeah, just going through, taking a bit of time just to individually pick out the bricks. Finally, a black or muddy black grey wash, this homemade wash over it, just to dull down that white, and you do this over the bricks as well. Of course, if you want your buildings cleaner or newer, you can leave this step out. I want mine to be fairly well lived in. Let's add a bit of grime to this, so I'm going to use some brown wash, a bit watered down. Just going to underneath the window here, a bit here, just a little bit strip, maybe the odd patch on the roof here, maybe some on the bricks here, just to bring those out a bit, maybe on the corner. Just want to, that's the other window. Yeah, I just want to, not over the top, more less is more definitely in this situation, but just want to try and almost working with the wash that's already on there, the black wash is already on there. On the bottom ones with the door, just along, but not a lot, it's going to come in and almost dab on some of this desert yellow, just where it's dusty, a bit higher, the corners. Just because I want these to be more, I'm going to be using these in tropical situations, coastal and tropical, so yeah, I actually think. Onto the roof, and I'm just going in with this sort of terracotta-esque colour. This is dark flesh tone from Willow. I'm just gonna having it using a wet palette for this one. It's slightly watered down. It's easier to keep it moist rather than dry palette I'd normally use. And what you want to do with this is go up one side like this, then flip over. You can sort of see cardboard poking through, and just go back over the tubes using that side. So not a lot to this. Just another bit you want to concentrate on is where we cut the ridge tiles in horizontally. But yeah, nothing particularly difficult about this step, just paint it all over. You could of course undercoat it in black first if you wanted to, just as a primer, but it's cardboard, really need it. Dries in a nice uniform way anyway. With painting done, we can glue the doors and windows in. So with the doors, I'll just put them on a backing of card and then put glue around the card so I can use that just to attach the door to the back here. See? And if all goes to plan, got the door in. Windows I won't bore you with, I'll just glue them in. I made notes. So I've got engraved 1 and 2 in the back, and then on the back of the window I've sort of written 1 and 2 on the backs of it, so I'll just glue those in. I'm not going to put glass in these because I figured these are going to be for a warmer climate. They'll just would have had shutters that I'll put on from inside, so I don't have to build them necessarily for this. So the air can circulate around. There's no need for glass in a climate such as this. And then we are pretty much done. Once we glue the windows in, we're done. So that's it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. Let's look at it all set up. Until the next one, stay safe, take care, bye bye.